Here at Vibe Science, ultimately, we're here to empower you to your best self. It's about mind, body, and energy. And you know what? When you work out a lot, when you're eating a healthy diet, it's hard to get enough sodium. It is one of the most important factors in hydration, and hydration controls so many variables of how we feel, how our brain thinks. That's why we're proud to partner with Warrior Salt. Hey, we like to take the BS out of stuff. This is no bullshit, just electrolytes, straight fruit powder and salt, the real deal. I love this product because it's simple. Sometimes we get overcomplicated in the supplements we take, but all I know and what I've learned and the science has proven is you have to have enough salt for that balance of hydration. This stuff mixes really easy with water, as you see. You got to be watching the YouTube to get the full effect of this. How easy that mixes in, and a very simple citrus flavor that's delicious, easy to drink, and perfect before and after the exercise to stay hydrated. Look, if you're already thirsty, you've waited too long. That's why you need Warrior Salt, official partner of Vibe Science and Ryan Alford. Delicious, and will keep you hydrated all day long.
I can see what's going on in people's chakras and energy field, and I can also see what's going on in their lives. So helping them to piece it together at a rate that's not normal. I don't like to do anything at a normal speed or in a normal way, and it's not necessarily just outright rebellion, but I do like to see what's possible. A lot of people, they can't handle their own emotions. They're in so much existential pain from their past, pain from what they believe the future holds, or pain that other people are having. But in that moment, they can't drop into themselves because they're just overloaded. So if we don't clear all that out, they're basically stuck inside of a prison of fear, inside of all that existential pain. I believe that we have the people and the resources and the capacity to solve all the problems that we're currently having. The difference is going to be consciousness. The difference is that perception, which then means that we have to handle the crap, which means we have to set the frame for what's possible.
This is Vibe Science, a top 100 wellness podcast presented by the Radcast Network, breaking wellness barriers and making health truly personal. Here are your hosts, Ryan Alford and Chris Hansen.
Hello, and welcome to Vibe Science. We're always here to take you to your highest vibe. It's my mind, body, energy. As Chris and I help you navigate this world because we know you want to be your best self. And we don't know it all. That's why we bring specialists, doctors. We've really scoured the entire planet, I think. We've covered almost every continent now, Chris, and now we're going straight to Cali. We got Dr. Amy Albright. I always wanted to say that. Back to Cali. Going back to Cali for Dr. Amy Albright. What's up, doctor?
Hi there. Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you. I have really been wanting to say that a long time. There's a rap song. I don't know how familiar you are with rap. Oh, you know it. Okay.
Old rap. I know.
Yeah.
If it's back in the 80s, I can probably quote it. Yeah.
Going back to back. I think it was
going
B.I.G.
back to Cali.
Yeah. Anyway.
And always having been a California gal, I appreciate that song. Yeah.
I will say this, and I read this in, I watched some of your other stuff that's out there and, getting to know you. And I saw this, known for her relatable, down-to-earth way. I was like, I haven't met many California people that way. But having talked to you a little bit before the episode, you definitely have, I don't know, some amount of like Southern relatability to you that I haven't always experienced from people that are lifelong Californians. I don't know why. Not because they're all stuck up or something, but it's just, you definitely have a down-to-earth way about you.
People sometimes ask me if I'm from Minnesota, from Canada. If I had more of a Southern accent, I'd for sure be Southern. My family's from the deep South, Georgia, Alabama, that kind of a thing on one side or two. So yeah, I think what it is I don't hit definitions very well. If I tell people I'm from LA originally, then they definitely don't believe me. They definitely don't believe me.
Chris, did you pick up on that? I did. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely, I could see the Midwestern, the Canadian vibe for sure, which is a huge compliment because, I mean, my sister lived in California and she's not even from there and she was a typical kind of LA type of girl. And
yeah.
We mean that in the best way possible, right, Chris?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I hope my
Thank you.
sister's not listening right now.
No.
Yeah.
Hey, ultimately it's about helping people. And I think when you're relatable, it can remove some of those, I don't know, walls that are up. So I'm sure and know and have seen the success that you've had. And, you know, and then it's so funny, all this relatability. And then I go to the next stanza and I'm into brain science and energy tools. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
All that in one relatable package.
Yeah. I work with behind the scenes. I work with global change makers to rewrite policy to save, hundreds of millions of acres of ocean land, ocean and preserve it. Or I've worked with, billionaires, and I'm a doctor of Chinese medicine. I'm a strategic advisor and a coach. I've helped to scale companies. I've helped to reinvent organizations, and I love supporting the pioneers and the visionaries and the real change makers of the world. My interest in peak performance, though, isn't because I want to be fancy, as I call it, or like show off. It's because the peak performers are the change makers, and I'm here to leverage huge change for greater good. So not to mess around, and to make sure that I can work at that level and excel at that level. I've always pushed myself at a very high level. And in the last it's been a 32-year spiritual journey. So I think that's something you're also feeling is my dedication to service comes first. And my desire to annihilate anything inside of my ego or my mind that might get in the way of that runs deep into my bones. So it's I don't care that I work with billionaires, except for that the billionaires can help more people, and that I actually love the people that I work with. So that's nice. But I don't do any of that because it sounds good on paper. But helping to create a change thesis for a better world. And, the organizations and the offerings that I help are all a part of creating that change at a deep level, deep within the individual, because we don't get anything if it's fake or temporary or not foundational change inside of each individual, but also deep inside of society, deep inside of the way that we look at the world. So, we've got some work to do. There's a lot of stuff going on out there right now. There's a lot of destructive power that's helping to tear down what needed to be reformed. And so I'm excited that I'm able to support people to be able to feel confident and calm and navigate not just their health, but also how do they navigate their lives, their careers, their callings, so that they can be a part of the change. Because we all downloaded to this earth at a very critical time. So we might as well show up for the job and have as much fun as we can with it. Because the alternative of being really scared about it's not really. I mean, we can get locked in fear, and then we can't have our life the way we want it, and we can't serve. So that's kind of the overview. And inside of that, I've had a neurosciences expertise. I started studying neurosciences when I was 18. But it came into being a full part of my career when I met my colleague about 14 years ago. So yeah, there's that part too. It's a little hard to put me in a box, I guess maybe is another way to describe it.
Have you had a career in writing or reading audiobooks?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to do my best to actually shut up and let you talk 90% of this episode. We typically do that anyway. Chris and I don't step on top of our guests. We let them be the stars. But there's something calming and insightful and just downright smart about, listening to you. Like you said 3 or 4 things just then that I wanted highlight clips immediately from the download part. And I don't know, it's the best compliment I can give you. It's spiritual meets technical meets this endearing quality. So I'm going to like this already, but I got to know what Holon is. She's the founder and CEO, doctor is of Holon. We were about to tease that before we even hit the record button. So
yeah,
tell us about Holon.
Well, thank you, Ryan, first for your comments about the resonance of my voice, and I think it just shows everything that I've been working on and up to. So I take that very, deeply into my heart. So thank you. Holon is an organization that is really passionate about that merge, that space between the nerdiest of science and the depths and the truth of spirituality. And so not pop spirituality, not just like the stuff that's kind of blowing through in the Instagram on trends, but the deep stuff. I've been on, like I said, a spiritual journey for 32 years. My colleague probably about the same. Everybody in our organization is on a deep, deep path and exploring. And so how do we understand consciousness? How do we understand what it is to be a person? What is it to be a soul, right? And how does that soul that's on a timeless journey interface with this body? And how does the brain interact with that consciousness? What we know is that any state of reality that we have, we can experience it not just in our felt experience, but in our neurology. And so we measure that and train and help people to work through their brain to increase their capacities for awareness and wisdom and consciousness. So why the name Holon, to come back to your question? It's a really weird word. Most people don't know how to pronounce it. Might not have been the best branding word, but it's okay because it means something. So Holon is, the root of it is the same as hologram or holacracy. So it speaks to the interconnectedness of all things. And at the core of the teaching and the understanding of Holon is the knowing that we're all interconnected. So we hear that a lot right now. Again, that's kind of trending. We're all one. It's been around actually for thousands of years. As a thought construct, it does almost nothing for us. It can actually make us feel more alone because we're like, wait a minute, if I'm a part of all things, then why do I feel like crap right now? Or I don't even deserve to be a part of all things. Maybe I'm the exception to the all things kind of I feel really messed up or whatever, and I don't feel like I belong to that. So at Holon, we understand that we're intrinsically connected to all things, that's something that is not a negotiable, and that we create experiences for people so that they know how to feel that feeling, that they can trust that feeling, and that they can build their reality and their lives from that feeling. The connection of all things and understanding that we're a holographic representation and that everything is represented inside of us. That's kind of what Holon, the word does actually mean, and that's what we strive to achieve for folks.
I saw a line that said from skeptical to spiritual, or from skeptic to spiritual. I'm in the skeptic of the duo, on some of these things. Some I'm still more than others. There's certain things I have a hard time wrapping my head around. This one, not so far.
Good.
I love her. This one's right down my alley so far. It's just, I would love to know what your skepticisms were and what broke into the spirituality. Because I think, that journey for you probably mimics, others. And I think it'd be good for them to know and hear that, because I imagine a lot of people, and I think even me coming into doing this show was like trying to blend these worlds, because we know we need all of these, disciplines and different modalities, so to speak, to help us live our best lives. So love for you to expound upon that.
Yeah. And I really honor the skeptic. I think the skeptic serves a very important function, by the way. So I'll just rewind. Back when I was a kid, I didn't have any religious upbringing except for a brief period of maybe a year. And when they told me that all the unbaptized babies were going to burn in hell forever, I was like, yeah, this religion thing is not for me. And I know there's other religion that doesn't believe that, but that's the church that I landed in. It was a Baptist church.
I grew up Southern
you
Baptist.
Get that, right?
And, I haven't gone to church in 15 years, probably because of it.
Right.
So
right. It doesn't, there's a lot that's there that's beautiful. And there's a lot that's there, at least in some of those faiths or, specific types of churches of the faiths that just doesn't feel right. So I decided that religion was not for me. And I had enough trauma and enough hardship in my early childhood that I was just an atheist. I'm like, anybody else is being highly illogical and we can understand. And that's why I started studying neurosciences. So I was at UC Irvine, who's it's a really well-known school for its neurosciences and cognitive psychology. And I started to study with some really renowned professors and wanting to understand the human experience via neurotransmitters. That was really my my excitement at that time. And I felt like we could understand reality if we understood that.
How are you working with people, and talk about some of the specific, techniques, modalities, things that you use, your gifts and your knowledge, both absorbed and learned, because I can tell you're a curious creature, and most intelligent people are. I'd love to know, kind of what and how you're working with people.
Yeah. Well, and this might push you right over that threshold, Brian. We're going to see how your woo factor handles.
I know. I'm good. You know what? If you're telling it to me, doctor, I think I might believe it, or at least get I think you break down some walls for me. So
I'm gonna give it a shot. We'll see what happens. That's one of the things that people have. I'm very, very grounded. I'm very practical. And the people that I work with are peak performers, not bliss bunnies. I like to differentiate a bliss bunny as somebody that doesn't maybe know how to hold a consistent job, might couch surf, or is on a permanent sabbatical from, whatever. And, that kind of a thing. And I bless those folks, and they are in a certain phase of life or in a certain sort of lifetime. But the folks that I work with are getting stuff done. They're running hundreds of millions of dollar companies, or they're doing whatever they're doing, and they want to bring that purpose and meaning. So it does help to anchor it, right? It does help, and it sounds different coming from that lens. So a lot of what I've done over the 23 years or so of my practice would be considered, like I said, executive coaching and strategic advising. What does that look like? I mean, I show up on a call, I'm looking at and feeling, and I'm watching. I can see what's going on in people's chakras and energy field, and I can also see what's going on in their lives. And so helping them to piece it together at a rate that's not normal. I don't like to do anything at a normal speed or in a normal way. And it's not necessarily just outright rebellion, but I do like to see what's possible. So sometimes people will, they're like I said, they're high performing folks, but they have an old trauma, something like that. And here's where I might go past your woo factor, but I actually have the ability to transmit energetic healing or consciousness to the person in a way that we've verified can change their brain by 2 to 3 standard deviations. So we're talking about real science, EEG, and be able to heal them of something that maybe was like their entire father wound in less than an hour. Honestly, the healing part's really less than a few minutes. It's me figuring out what I need to do to help them. So when those peak performers want not only to get somewhere different in their life, in their experience of reality, or in their capacity to help and serve, we have to cut the sandbags from the past. So I've gotten really fast at that. Like, let's just clear all that out, because who you are without that is what I'm ready. That's what we want to see shine. So there's a lot that I do outside of Holon, but that's what's inside of Holon for the most part right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Is this, when I'm hearing you talk, I'm going, am I laying on a brown couch and Doc is talking to me, or are there physical things I'm doing to make some of this happen?
Yeah. The things, if people come to brain camp, they've got wires hanging off their head and they're looking at screens, and there's definitely technology happening. And then,
are you showing me bad 80s commercials and trying to,
yeah. So that's very, very physical. We have a cyclic variable altitude chamber that looks a little bit like that space pod that Anakin was in one of those old movies. And, it's 10 hyperbaric oxygen chambers in effect, and it takes about 20 minutes to get about 10 hyperbaric chamber sessions worth of benefit, right? So like I said, some of the high tech stuff is just through the roof. But ultimately the tech is there to point towards the freedom, right? The tech is there to liberate from perpetual or habitual states of neurological impediment. And perceptual limitation. So once you bust out of the jails of your mind and your perceptual ideas about who you are or what's possible, once you drop off those sandbags of the past, The anything is possible. And so the anything is possible is what we're pointing to. And we use the tech to get there.
As I hear you speak, I feel like I'm summarizing, but I feel like it's like you help bring people to a higher level of consciousness, like aware of bigger, broader things, which then unlock other things.
That's right.
Am I summarizing on, a lot of what I'm hearing, right?
Yeah, super good summary. A lot of people don't know the word consciousness really means, and so I don't always use it, but it's actually that's the most accurate. And I would say that to build on that, a lot of people, they can't handle their own emotions. They're in so much existential pain. Existential pain in this case, what I mean by that is pain from their past, pain from what they believe the future holds, or pain that other people are having. Right? But in that moment, they can't drop into themselves because they're just overloaded. So if we don't clear all that out, they're basically stuck inside of a prison of fear, inside of all that existential pain. And their consciousness will not be able to elevate. As soon as we can, like, let's say, downregulate the overthinking and the existential pain and upregulate the consciousness, just like you said, now they have awarenesses, they have capacities that we just, it's astounding what can happen. People, I believe that we have the people and the resources and the capacity to solve all the problems that we're currently having. The difference is going to be consciousness. The difference is that perception, which then means that we have to handle the crap, which means we have to set the frame for what's possible. Yeah, it is. It's consciousness.
Talk to me about what you've seen from people that have gone through this, like before and after. Like what do the outcomes look like, that are tangible?
Yeah. So I'll tell it from 2 points of view, just as a couple of places. One is in the one-on-one work. It could be one session that somebody's done with their father wound. They no longer have anger, resentment. They no longer they can't even conjure the emotions of all of those times that they were beaten and brutalized and yelled at. And that's from one session. So what can happen from there, and when people work in that one-on-one container over time, is kind of outrageous. When we have people come through the neurofeedback intensive, and again, from a Thursday to a Monday, it takes them a little while for that to grow in. So right away, they have a huge change. And they're, like I said, it could feel like altered states of consciousness, even though we're not serving entheogens. But when they go home and it starts to like really settle in and grow in, they actually get more benefit over time. And what we see there is people have far less reactivity. They don't have a temper anymore. They don't get triggered over stuff like they used to at all anymore, to the point where their loved ones are like, are you okay? You're so different, And then we also see the clarity, the focus. It depends on what they've come for, because we're going to tailor. That's why we work with only a few people at a time. We tailor everything extremely to exactly what we see in their brain. So if they've come in asking for better sleep, they could end up with better sleep for sure. They likely will. But I think that it's also, it's like they finally understand what life is, and they're not inside of the matrix that we were just talking about anymore. And so a lot of the times they sit in a quiet space of like, oh, wow, so what's next? Right. And we often meet people when they're in a huge time of transition, or it creates a lot of transition for them. Not the kind where they turn into a bliss bunny, because we've done good work. We're not going to make anybody get all spun out and, move to India and leave their kids behind and quit their job or whatever. But I think that we see people have a deep recognition of themselves and what life is. And that's very, very common.
Chris, thoughts or questions for Dr. Amy here?
So many. I'm all over the place.
Yeah, I'm in kind of dominating here because I'm like fascinated.
No, it's great.
I'm Dr. Amy talk.
I'm fascinated and I love this. And I could go for hours, but something that came to mind, kind of a question for you, is we have more distractions than ever, right? I mean, and we're talking a little about intuition and consciousness. Are we just at a time that we're so disconnected because of the distractions, the cell phones, the social media, where it appears to me, and even I'm trying to be more active with this, is just taking that time by ourselves and just sitting, not listening to anything, just literally sitting. Is that half of the battle that we're facing now, is just nobody is taking that quiet time alone and truly disconnecting or taking a walk in nature, that we're just so hyper connected? And obviously not in the sense that we're all connected, because I totally believe that too. And I had that experience with psychedelics. For me, was kind of that aha moment for me where it broke the logical understanding, and I really felt that. But even I'm sitting here thinking, God, I've lost it again a little bit. Like, my experience was 3.5, 4 years ago, where I really, everything you just said, where I didn't come back a bliss bunny, but I felt like I got back to the root of what mattered, and the little things weren't affecting me as much. I wasn't as worried about the world's problems. What do you think is our biggest battle right now? Right? What do you think? I mean, you're dealing with people. That's one part of the question. Two, when people come work with you, do they even have specific goals in mind? Or are some people just like, hey, I'm looking for more. I don't know what that is. I don't know what my wounds are. And let's just uncover them.
I would say that, to go back to your first question, we're absolutely dealing with distractions. We're at a choice point right now as a collective of what we really think is important. And if we think it's important to text back everybody that we know within 5 seconds and be up on all the trends, because if not, then we're FOMO, like maybe we don't belong, right? There's a lot of really deep primal instincts that we're having to work through in order to resist what it is that they're doing with the dopamine hits. Like, it's all very intentional, honestly. Maybe not all. A lot of it is very intentional, and some of it is actually unintentional, because people aren't understanding collectively enough the power and the damage of what we're doing. It's like when smoking was really common and everybody thought it was normal, and then like, oh, whoa, causes cancer, and like, wow, we didn't know that, right? So we're kind of at that phase, not just for the radiation that's coming out of our phone, but we're all kind of collectively coming in awareness about our addictions, but we're not necessarily knowing how to overcome them. So I would say that that's, we desire connection, and we're trying to do it through a device that's not even healthy for us to hold in our hand. And so it is a time for a massive amount of clarity and willpower about all of that. But it's also a time of, like, you can't just tell yourself not to do the thing, right? You need to know what you're going to do instead. So I'm going to get together with friends instead of texting them as much. I'm going to get together. I'm going to do things with my time rather than be on Instagram. And those things are going to be these things that bring me so much nourishment. I'm going to be outside. I'm going to be reading a book that I love, or I'm going to be spending time with my kid, or whatever it is. But we don't just want to take stuff away, because what it is that we're really desiring is connection, and to know that connectedness. And we don't get there by shaming ourselves and making ourselves feel like we're messed up. That's not going to be the method. So when we come and we live in that way, and we live in that state of connection and understanding that we are important, and that our importance isn't found through our phone. It's not found through these things at the level of the mind. It's found through connection and heart. It's found through energetics. It's found through presence. And that we can do things that are incredible and be levers and agents for change, and have people love us and accept us because of goodness, not because of, I did something fancy I can brag about, right? Because that's empty. No matter what, at the end of the day, that's still an empty situation for that person. They can accomplish amazing things, but if they can't feel it in their heart, and they don't have all the stories of the connections, the feelings of the connections that they made with people along the way, it won't leave them feeling fulfilled. And it actually, again, can make them feel worse, because they got all the stuff, they made all the money, they have all the friends, they got all the whatevers, and they're still not happy. So that's typically where it gets really even more intense inside of stories for folks. There's a lot to us as beings.
Yes. I feel like this could be a 4-hour show. And
I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. It's fun to be able to share.
It's really, I don't know. I think Chris and I are at this point in our lives and careers and everything else that, I think this stuff resonates with us, and we have enough,
definitely,
I don't know, wisdom to absorb it and appreciate it. And then just enough, I don't know, honesty to be like, I don't even know everything, but I want to know more. you know, like Chris said, like, you don't know even sometimes you don't know what you don't know. Like that's underneath the layers. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
The way I teach it, I'm going to hold up a mug for those that are just listening to audio. The way I teach it is like, look, no matter where you are, you're inside of a container and you can't see over the edges of that container. You just know you don't know. You know there's more outside of it, but you don't know what it is. And when you go through these major evolutionary points, could be incredible psychedelic journey, could be, it could be just the result of showing up every day and journaling, right? And being out in nature, whatever it is, there's an evolutionary point where maybe it's gradual, maybe it's sudden, and then you get a bigger vessel. And inside of that vessel, you have more ability to perceive. But here's the thing. Timeless soul, endless journey. We're working with infinite. We can't even understand that at the level of the mind. We can't even understand the circumference of the earth. We can read the number on the page, but it means nothing because it's too big, right? So if we're timeless and we're part of an infinite and ever expanding thing, right? Then we know that we can't possibly know everything.
Yeah.
And so what we get to know also at the same time is it is so cool that no matter how much I know, no matter how much I grow, no matter how much I heal and learn, all that there's always more. It's like the game never runs out. That's cool because, that's something else I feel like we all have in common is we want to be stretched. We want to know that we can be challenged, right? If a game is too easy, if the people around us are not kind of getting it enough, we'll get bored pretty quick. And that's a bad thing. Boredom with powerhouses is not a good mixture. So it's really cool that it's so big and that it's infinite. And I certainly don't know everything. None of us could possibly. It's not even possible. But it's just so fun to be able to be inside of that game.
Infinite capacity, but there's always headroom. It's just whether or not you choose to allow it to be there.
That's right.
Dr. Amy, where can everybody keep up with your doing? I think we're going to have a part 2 with Dr. Amy here in a few months or something. I need to absorb some of this, and then if you can send some good vibes my way, and then I'll but where can everyone learn more about Holon and everything you're doing, Dr.
Yeah,
Albright?
we've got a lot of our offerings. We actually have some new ones that aren't on the website yet, but almost everything is at holonexperience.com. So it's HOLON experience.com. And then I'm going to be launching more channels and things like that. I've been so busy helping people. I haven't really done much with all the socials and all that, but that's coming online in the next couple of months. So you can look there too for Holon. Probably will be up on YouTube and all of that pretty soon. So yeah.
We really appreciate your wisdom and for coming on and expanding our minds.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for the conversation and for your questions. And it's been nice to have some time with you both. Yeah.
Hey guys, you're going to find us vibescience.com. We'll have links to all of Dr. Amy's stuff and Holon experiences. I think Dr. Albright summarized a lot of things today with what we're trying to do with this show. It's about expansion, really. And because you cannot stay in the same place and become your best self. You must expand to go up and to learn more every day. We'll see you next time on Vibe Science.
The content discussed on this show is provided for reference and educational purposes. The content is not an attempt to practice medicine or provide specific medical advice. Always consult your personal physician for medical advice and proper diagnosis.
Thanks for listening. This is Vibe Science. To learn more or watch full episodes, visit vibesciencepodcast.com. Here's to discovering your highest vibe